morning, everybody. Good morning. So, there's like so much I want to cover because I'm going to cover every single little post between my last transmission all the way up to here. Not every single one because there's some of just stuff that you just need to know that I don't have to talk about. I mean, I might say something, but I'll just give you the gist of what this transmission's about. You are immortal and you just believe and we're told that you're not. Okay? And just remember that, because how do you prove immortality when people have been told by all their politics, religion, and science dogmas that they're not? They're supposed to die someday. How do you prove immortality? It's so hard to prove that, right? Because everyone is dying around them. Well, that's a belief system that everyone adopted, and they're just going through the motions. But there's so much evidence in the Bible that there was immortality. Methuselah, I would say, immortality, because what caused, Noah and Methuselah to die? Well, water and some other stuff, but why would they live to be 969 years old? And then what would cause them to die? Well, look right now what's going on today. You are seeing the climate changing so fucking aggressively that people who are immunocompromised, who are way less than what Methuselah and Noah were way back then, having a hard time navigating this atmosphere, have a hard time dealing with their predisposed issues, have a hard time dealing with symptoms. Okay? So I can tell you most likely way back when, thousands, maybe 6,000 years ago, back in the days of Noah, back in the days of Methuselah, that the climate was relatively temperate. They figured out how to eat, blew their nose. They used a little bit of cures, and they found water, and they have food. They had all their livestock, and there wasn't really anything that was causing the fluctuations in the atmosphere. You see, when the climate is relatively stable, you may have people coming in that are different, but what makes the sicknesses so aggressive? Because of the atmosphere. Why do you think people get sick when it turns cold? Why do you think people are getting sick now with it going from 80 degrees to like 39 degrees tomorrow? There's going to be a total temperature plummet. They're already projecting that. There's freaking storms and tornadoes over there in Louisiana and Oklahoma, Missouri, Illinois. Last night I was looking at the Doppler and it was like, holy shit, it just lit up over there to the left of my screen. People are not only getting their houses just torn away from those tornadoes and all that stuff and hurricanes and storms and whatever, but they're dealing with some major aggressive diseases, energy frequencies, energy conversions that they can't get ahead of. People are checking themselves in the hospital. Okay, so what caused Methuselah to die? He died in a flood. There was a great flood. And then that's where I post about flash petrification. That, when you have a volcano, like a super volcano, like the one in Hawaii is, I guess, is the hugest one. The whole ring of fire over there in the Pacific Northwest. And there's one that's dormant and there's one that's active. When that spews so much stuff in the air and you have acid rain and you have titanium silica on top of a large amount of heat, and there's animals in the vicinity, large giant animals and giants too, and they're getting flash petrified in maybe moments, just like Pompeii and the ashes the Pompeii and the ash cloud. And that just mummified everyone and buried them. And they were all just like in the same position that they were left in when that volcano came up and flash petrified them on some level. Okay? So, and so immortality means that you are able to continuously live so as long as the environment is stable enough for you to be able to adapt to the changing conditions. Obviously, if Pompeii comes and there's a huge freaking volcano right over down the street and it's spewing ashes and it's spewing lava and it buries us We're not going to be immortal and live through that. But if you are far enough away, you might see some stuff, you might feel some stuff, but if you're strong enough and you know how to release the demons, which I'm sure they were diarrheaing everywhere, they were going through that stuff, and throwing up and blowing their nose and all that, and then they get through it, there's no reason to freaking die. But why do people die? Because they close their system up. They're constantly taking antibiotics in an aggressive environment. You see, in a slower frequency environment, like maybe 20 or 30 years ago, people were taking all their different pills, power supplements, and detoxes minimally. There was not that much cancer or disease or chronic illness. I mean, there was, but there wasn't. It was almost unheard of back in the 50s. There was cancer, but it was more for the older people. It didn't really happen too much in the younger generation. You saw the prototypes out there. They were so strong and so amazing. The frequencies were relatively, stable. And they were also experimenting with the drug culture. So if you're going to experiment with the drug culture and you want, mostly optimal outcomes, you got to make sure the atmosphere is relatively stable. So that way when you apply something energetic or you're trying to slow something down in a person's body, it can give you predictable results. That's the drug culture. That's the drug experimentation in biotech. The conditions in the lab have to be not only sterile, but the frequency in the environment has to be relatively stable too, because that will mess your stuff up. And so when you're making drugs in an environment like pharmaceuticals, it has to be made and developed for the environment, for the frequencies in the environment, for the geographical area, for obviously the people. And when the environment changes, the drugs have to change because of frequency levels. It's going to mess with people's intentions or their expectations. If they want to be cured and the environment is shifting so excessively, there's no fucking way they're going to be cured. That's why the people go to drug to drug to drug to drug and cannabis to cannabis to cannabis, operation to operation. They can't get relief. They're in pain all the time. So right now, what's going on right now with this climate change is probably why, and I would say it's the most educated guess, why Methuselah and Noah died. Not only the flood, yes, when you have a bunch of water drowning you, because, if you're not made to breathe in water and there's so much water, you're going to die from drowning. Obviously, Noah didn't die in a flood because he had the ark, but Methuselah died in the flood. So there's some aspects of the Bible that are true, but why is it that Christians are worshiping the Bible and worshiping the person that was martyrized from 6,000 years ago, immortalizing a dead person, which is completely like, what? Doesn't even make logical sense. And yet they are buying into whatever the Bible says that you should die someday, or whoever it is that interprets the Bible, the Pope, the pastor, the priest, all the New Age religions, and all the offshoots even thereafter from Rome. And then you had the Church of England break off. And even then, people broke off from even the Church of England. They came over here, did their own stuff, maybe became puritanical, like, the Pilgrims and all that. And then you have all the offshoots. I mean, we came out of here with 1776. When did the Reformation happen? 1534. When Henry VIII was like, yeah, well, I want to divorce my wives. I want to break away from the church. I don't want the church to be like, the Rome, to tell me how to live my life, and I need to evolve. And so Henry VIII started evolving, broke away from Rome. Who was the one, right, that martyrized Jesus Christ? The Romans. And then you have all the history about Judas Priest and all, and all that. I don't go into great detail. But Jesus was probably was immortal, and people even around that time were probably immortal and going through their stuff. And then how do you talk people from living into dying? You understand how to use energy to cause pain in people. And when people are in pain, what do they do when they don't want to be in pain? Somebody gives them a magical fucking cure. And you're watching it right now. Look on your Facebook. Look at all your friends and family selling you a cannabis, selling you a pill, a powder, a supplement, a detox, an operation. What's going on right now on your Facebook? happened 6,000 years ago when they talked everyone from living into fucking dying. I don't have to theorize or make shit up. You just look at what goes on today, and it's not that different than what happened 6,000 years ago. But why would they do that? Why would they do that? Well, partly it's money, but then somebody, the Rosicrucians, which are the Christian gnostics, Jewish mystics, hermetics, the Greeks and the Egyptologists or Egyptology, they want to advance humans. Okay, so when you flash freeze or when you cure someone in a specific state of existence, you take two people. One was born on the West Coast and they had all this university education and exposure to diversity and all that. You take someone like in the Midwest who's never been exposed to anyone, and they're all cured in their perspective, homogenized lifestyle. Well, how do you evolve someone that's been living for 969 years with a family that has a very specific intelligence level? I'm not saying that they're not intelligent, because they're intelligent to their geographical area. They've survived 969 years in their specific area. Let's say, for instance, like Ohio. Ohio has berries, that has animals, and they have land, and there's water, fresh water, and salt, and all the different elements that are able to live 900 years right over here. And then people over there in California are living 900 something years, but they have embedded into themselves over time through a lot of evolution, massive amounts of university intelligence, massive amounts of diverse intelligence. But they're able, and they did that for many years. And now they have a group of people over there that were exposed to great evolution and great knowledge and innovation, and then they're flash frozen in that cured state, but they're able to relatively reproduce and keep the intelligence and not have the intelligence diminish over that dying and reproduction. And so then you look at those two sides and you're like, well, how do you evolve then someone like in the Midwest to have the diverse experiences, the diverse knowledge? Well, they have to die and reproduce, because can you imagine taking someone in a homogenized environment and forcing them to evolve with aggressive pain? No, they would destroy themselves, because they'd be taking stuff to stop it and they'd destroy themselves. Now, we don't know really what happened way back when. We weren't there, okay? And so while the stories, yeah, we could say that there's geological evidence that there was floods and there's strata, okay. But what made it happen? What was the catalyst? Maybe it could have been organic. Maybe, like right now going on, the ice sheets are melting, the sun, I don't even know what would be the catalyst. Given that we have now CERN, Wi-Fi, HARP, we're able to direct energy. We have satellites, okay? I couldn't tell you what exactly happened back then, but it's not that difficult to take something that's in nature and replicate it and read and find synthetic ways to control the elements. But over time, maybe watching the people migrate from land to land and continent to continent when they were shifting and going through all that geological shift stuff, and you can see evidence of evolution, and I don't have all the answers to how mankind became relatively intelligent. I just see today there's people out there that have been homogenized, have not been exposed to diversity, extremely intolerant, like so intolerant that where they are deadly. I mean, at least to somebody's spirit, if somebody allows them to destroy them. And that, yeah, comes from not only deficiencies, but the lack of exposure to new information. And so that can't be that different than what happened 6,000 years ago, where people were homogenized in their own little environment, and then somebody new came in and either dazzled them, be like a Jesus Christ, or tried to harm them because they were different. Okay, so when you have the Romans that martyrized Jesus Christ, and he could have been, he was one of those that were immortal, and they chopped him up. They tortured him, and they hung him out there, and that was how, so then people who were like, then they followed and they called them the Christians, Christian followers. I remember learning about that in Sunday school. One of my Sunday school teachers was like, yes, Christianity came from the fact that he was put on a cross and he was saying some stuff that was against the authority. The authority didn't like it at the time. Was it Pontius Pilate or something? And so they used him as a tool, as a martyr, and then had all these followers. And then from that point of, as far as the frankincense and myrrh and all the herbs that are right now being offered in all these different religions, detoxes, the fear, they're just all into like, oh gosh, the snake and the worm and the parasites and all of that stuff. And you see the religions go into the demonization of their own microbiology, trying to destroy themselves. That also could have been part of that religion when Christ was martyrized and hung on the cross. That then there was a whole energy that caused people, like the 10 plagues. Now I know I'm skipping over stuff because the 10 plagues and all that stuff with Egypt happened way before Jesus Christ was on the cross, but because that's like Genesis, and then we're moving forward into the New Testament. But like in Genesis, or Exodus, not so much Genesis, but Exodus, when they were leaving the land of Egypt, and Passover, right? Passover, the energy that the firstborn are being sacrificed. Well, that's kind of like what's going on now, is that we have all these energy frequencies that some will pass over people and not really affect them. Well, they do kind of, like last night I was blowing my nose, like really hard. It was like in the after of everything that I was going through the last couple of days, the arm hurting and the fatigue and all that. So last night I was blowing my nose. But that's the extent of it for me. Somebody else, I was hearing sirens the last couple of days. Sirens early in the morning, sirens late at night, siren. People are getting heart attacks, strokes, having events because they are not immune to these frequencies. They have not built up their body. And so then it's like, then people who are dying, whether it's children or whether it's adults, it's like the firstborn when the angel of death passed over the houses in the land of Egypt when Moses was threatening Pharaoh that I'm going to have my God go and do 10 plagues on you. And that's kind of what we're dealing with today, the 10 plagues. Not so much like the firstborn, because people have so many kids that the firstborn actually is probably older, stronger, most likely can withstand some of the stuff if they built up their body. But it's the younger kids. Nowadays, it's the younger kids that are going to have a hard time in this environment because they don't have a fully functioning immune system. They're still developing. And when you're still developing in a very aggressive environment on top of compound predisposed issues, and the parents are giving their kids elderberry syrup, detoxes, herbs and extracts, they're taking away their kids' potential to be strong. And they can't get ahead of these frequencies because they're everywhere. The climate is changing so aggressively, these poor kids don't have a chance. And so, when you're trying to evolve a population, they got to go through the pain. Only the strong are going to survive. The ones that are not strong enough are going to be going to a therapist. They're going to be taking their detoxes. They'll be doing their herbs and extracts and operations and cannabis, frankincense and myrrh. They'll be blaming everyone and everything around them. Okay? And so now we're in a great reset, which is like what happened even, when the Noah's flood. The flood, and God or whatever was saying, we're going to clean up the earth, and Noah was allowed to bring, all the animals 2 by 2. We know that Bible story. And I guess Methuselah was one of them that drowned. The one that lived to be 969 years old, as Noah lived to be 950. But I looked up on Google, like, how did Noah die? And they're like, oh, he just disintegrated into the sky. I'm like, what does that mean? There really is nothing definitive of how Noah passed away. Really, there isn't anything definitive. So I'm like, okay, well, somebody must have killed him. Because why would you die? Either you drowned because you can't swim and there's nowhere to rest, or someone hurt you. Someone actually committed homicide to you. Or the environment changed so drastically that he couldn't get ahead of it. See, like right now, I'm looking at people from the old past when I used to know, and I go on to onto Facebook and look up people that I used to hang out with, but we're not friends. So I kind of stalked their page. And I'm like, wow, this person used to be really, really big and all that. And then I look at them today and I'm like, oh my God, they're becoming so skinny. I mean, they have gray in their beard. They're younger than me. They're like 20 years younger than me, and they look about as old as me, because I'm like 50. Or they look about as old as me, or they look older than me. Like, you could see time is ravaging, the frequencies are ravaging people right now. They're literally ravaging people. And so when someone is dealing with obesity, right? And they're also taking maybe Ozempic or other operations. Yeah, this environment will help them get skinnier. That's why you're seeing the girls on Facebook, they're always posting pictures of themselves looking super skinny. Like I did when I was doing so much the J juice 5 years ago. I was like, look how skinny I was in 2018. Because I was doing so much J juice. I was doing so much ionic energy that it was sucking the life out of me. And so I lost a bunch of weight. I couldn't get away with that now. I would die. Because I wouldn't have enough substance to me to handle these frequencies. It would ravage me. And so if the climate changed back then, somehow, then I could see why people of the past that were living to be 900 years old, and all that, would pass away. Now, what was that point where man that was immortal turned mortal? Where was that change? I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you what the catalyst was. I couldn't tell you who decided that humans were going to become I don't know. Maybe when we all came on here and we were made as slaves, maybe we were here from monkeys and then we evolved and aliens came down and gave us DNA and made us immortal, but then didn't want to tell us that we were immortal and made us mortal by giving us cannabis, like the Imhotep, the chancellor. He was the chancellor to the pharaoh Ra, I think. Not Ra, I don't know. Who was that guy? Ramses, maybe. I forget. But he was only 20 years old. He was the first physician. That did all the operations, induced trauma on people. Then, of course, all the alchemy. That's what the Rosicrucian. When you go to the Rosicrucian Museum in San Jose, California, which I went to when I was a kid at Blue Hills, we visited the Rosicrucian Museum. Little did I know it was actually a religion. It was what's going on today. Silicon Valley. So the Rosicrucians are all about alchemy. Alchemists. Playing with people's hormones, giving them the gifts, which could be a curse or a spell, but to you it's a gift. Oh wow, I don't feel pain. Oh wow, I feel amazing. I feel energetic. I feel a little bit slower. I tell you, if you have the type A, blood type A and B, and you have so much energy conversion in your head and you can't seem to calm down your thoughts like I was last night, I couldn't stop thinking. It was fucking insane. And then they're like, oh, I'll prescribe you something like cannabis to slow things down, right? And then someone's like, feeling so slow and so sluggish, and they're like, well, I don't understand, and the environment's relatively stable, but their genetics is slow and sluggish, then they'll go speed them up stuff. It could be coffee. Some people even go as far as doing the bad drugs, the meth and the cocaine. That's why you see people who are meth addicts and coke addicts look like they're skeletons. And when they get off the meth and cocaine, their body comes back. But that meth and cocaine just ravage them just like these frequencies are to people right now. That's what people don't get, is that you can take the stuff that's in the drugs and put it in the atmosphere and have the same frequency. And so these particle accelerators, wherever they came from, and we all can speculate, it's like everyone on a mass cocaine binge, mass methamphetamine binge. Because I'll tell you, last night I could not, that's why you see so many posts. I could not stop thinking. I could not stop posting. Last night I was posting, and sometimes I'll get on a whole train and I'll be like speaking, doing talk to text, just everything that's in my brain's coming out. Everything in my brain coming out. Connections. Because I'm getting the gift of energy, but I can handle it because I went through the initiation of releasing the demons, facing my demons, facing the pain, feeding my body, not caring if I don't look sexy to people. I don't care if people call me a fucking cow. That's fine. I don't care if they want to judge me about my dog, because I was trying to save my dog to life while they're trying to save their dog to death. That's the difference between me and my critics, is they're trying to save everyone to death. And I'm saving everyone and myself to life. But I obviously know my power of saving people can only go so far. I can only offer you the information and you do what you want with it. And so when you want to, and this is what I speculate, and this is what probably is true, when you want to evolve a population, it's a mass evolution. Because it starts out at the micro level when you experience coughing and sneezing and blowing your nose and pain. That's a micro evolution. People try to stop that with herbs, extracts, and detoxes. But when you finally allow your body to go through that evolution and you don't try to stop it, and you feed it and you release the demons and you open up your system, then you can deal with then the mass evolution that's going on. And that's changing the atmosphere, changing the frequencies in the atmosphere, which I surmise was what happened 6,000 years ago. Again, who are the catalysts? What made everyone that was giant into diminutive humans who were then fractions of that giant? The Titans, right? I couldn't tell you. I don't even know. But then you see the devil's tower that looks like a tree that was chopped down, petrified. There must have been a massive volcano to take that tree of life, if we want to theorize that was actually a tree a long time ago, to not only have it be cut down, but have that stump be petrified. That's some pretty amazing geological, chemical events that gave us our world today. Okay? And then we have the mud flood people, the Tartaria people. You can Google Tartaria, mud flood. You saw back in the 1800s, there was huge saws that chopped down so many huge trees. But there's still some evidence of huge trees like the redwoods and the sequoias in California. But that really just pales in comparison of what trees used to be a long time ago. And so you can see now the powers that be know how to control the weather. So yeah, there'll be places that'll be deluged with water. I mean, washed away like a flood, like Noah's flood, like what's going on in California and different places. Like I'm watching things about climate change. And the ice sheets are melting faster. They're saying they're melting really fast right now. And so there's going to be coastal towns are going to be underwater, even islands in the middle of Pacific, Indian Ocean, the Atlantic, that are going to be underwater. And then climate migration. That's why you don't deny climate change, because it's happening right now. Even here in Ohio, which it's well known that Ohio's weather is like bipolar, but it's even more so. It's extreme. It was snowing the other day, and now it was 80 degrees today. It's going to be snowing. It's going to be dipping down to 39 degrees in the next day or so. That's what's crazy. That's what's crazy. And wow. Okay. So if you can look at what's going on today as far as the climate change and why people are dying, you will then know what happened 6,000 years ago to Methuselah, and Noah. That when the climate changed so aggressively, they couldn't handle it. They could not handle it. Just like your friends and family who are having a hard time dealing with climate change. And they are taking, again, their concoctions. They're posting their concoctions on Facebook saying, here, look what I'm melting down. Ginger and honey and apple cider vinegar, and look, my celery juice, and look what I'm making, this seaweed from Dr. CB, and look what I'm making here, this, I'm making that here, or look, take jelly juice all the time in this environment. Oh, here, take a crystal. See all that organized stuff that people are selling in the holistic world? That's also adding excessive energy. That's like adding Wi-Fi to your household. When people are like, oh, Wi-Fi is so portable, here, take this crystal, which is reflecting back energy, or they're doing orgonite, trying to absorb the Wi-Fi stuff, that's still energy being reflected back. Your body has to deal with all that war of energy counting energy. That's what people don't get. They're all about characterizing energy to be good, bad, dirty, clean, what. That's all fucking marketing. That's all marketing. Who are you to determine what's dirty, clean, and good or bad? That's the holistic world, selling you a fucking dream, selling you shit. Because energy is energy. Can you handle the energy, or can you not handle the energy? Are you supporting the energy that's in your environment? Are you adding so much energy to your environment that you have to now work double time to keep the substance on, like eating more food? So when you have Wi-Fi and the frequencies and you have all the crystals, but you need Wi-Fi, right? Because you want to be tapped into your friends and family and be online and learn shit. So maybe give up all the crystals. Give up all the little things that people are selling you on the fucking internet. All the orgonite. Learn how to adapt to the energy that's being given to you by the government, by your necessities. Okay? And so I'm telling you, the market of the healing world, the alchemy world, is exponential, and it's so deceptive. And people they're being sucked dry. They're literally being sucked dry from the energy in the environment, from all the things they're buying on the internet to help them deal with the dirty energy. If you feel stuff because of Wi-Fi, it's because your body, like I don't feel stuff because of Wi-Fi. I feel stuff because of the frequencies of the climate change. Every single time the fucking climate changes, it's like it's spring again. It's like it's summer again. It's like it's winter again. It's like it's fall again. And you're going through that energy conversion like people do. That's why cold and flu season is so famous around summer to fall, because of that energy conversion, that shift, the drop in temperatures, the shift in the frequency and the algorithms. Now you multiply that by like 52 weeks. Every week the freaking climate's changing. Now you're going through an energy change. And everyone's blaming it on the V's, or they're blaming it on Wi-Fi, or they're blaming it on GMO, or blaming it on the chemtrails, or they're blaming it on everything. But they don't realize the climate changing is what's causing them instability, releasing their demons, waking up shit, waking things up. And then what people do, they take their elderberry syrup. They do all their operations. They're doing all their cannabis, the drugs. They're giving their kids stuff from the holistic world. They're promoting all these osteopathic, homeopathic doctors. And these poor kids will not have a chance. They won't have a chance to fulfill their potential because their parents keep taking away their potential. That's the ultimate depopulation agenda. When you can get the parents to destroy their own children, that is crazy. But it's not. Because you're given this information. If you say, oh, I'm stupid, Jillian's this, then you've made the choice. No one's saying that I'm wrong. When you think about it, the medical system isn't saying that I'm wrong. They understand that you can't tout cures. It's against the law. Why? Because only a doctor can give you a cure. Only a licensed professional can give you something that will stop your body's natural processes. They're telling you, I'm right, by saying it's illegal to sell Jilly Juice as a cure, because it is. It's not a cure, because it'll wake up somebody else's demons, while somebody else who's already over the edge anyways is going to be cured with the salt, and then they'll pass away. That's why you can't sell Jilly Juice as a cure, because it's not. Not everyone will have the same reaction. And I'm going back to this, because I'm going to read this stuff. I'm going to just go up and read this, because I'm going to read everything, because I don't want to miss anything. And if this is a long-ass video, I don't care. Because now you got to know you are immortal. You are immortal, and you've been told in politics, religion, and science that you are not, and that you are worshiping dead people. Whether it's Jesus Christ or somebody else. So humans are immortal. But when they destroyed Jesus, they made humans mortal by making them believe that humans should die someday, and Jesus died for their sins. The medical, holistic, energy healing world ensured humans stayed mortal and loved it. This is how, or that is how, beliefs are developed. And then you die and reproduce on that belief system. Your kids are getting taught the same thing, passed down to generation, and they have predisposed issues, and they're being experimented on in the medical and holistic system. And then we have kids who have issues, autism, other stuff. Some are really smart and they can contribute, and then they pass away sooner than later. Others are so smart that they become dumb, and that's a lot of the different neurological conditions. And so you see that in the population. And so when people are like, something about solstice, I mean, I don't really look at astrology. I don't really pay attention to solstice stuff. It's whatever. Okay? I mean, you don't know. I mean, we know that the moon and the sun and all that influence our algorithms and biorhythms, but then you add in not only biotech, but you add in the military with all of the CERN and the scientists, right? And the Wi-Fi and the HARP. Now, like, how do you really even say, like, oh, it's the solstice, it's this, it's doing this, it's that doing this. So as I said, you will never know if it is organic or synthetic. It will be whatever you want it to be or make it be. And this has to do with astrology. And all the people are like, oh, the Mercury's in retrograde. I feel stuff. I'm like, okay. Does correlation equal causation, ma'am, sir? Regardless, you are the one who will convert the information based upon your intentions. Okay, climate change is here. Even if you think it's astrological or not, was the pattern and formula of your existence predetermined and developed many thousands of years ago, and those in the know knew how to press play, fast forward, rewind, and stop. That is existentialism, and all religion and spirituality enjoy climate change, however you characterize the energy. So that's why I don't fall into the spiritual solstice, stuff, people who are talking about the astrology, Mercury in retrograde, because again, religion happens in so many different ways. That's why the English language is so amazing. The English language is like spell casting. It is the chemistry of our world. It develops realities. And so humans are immortal, but religion induced self-sabotage to die and reproduce. Now you see how religion in the holistic conspiracy world and the pagan energy healing world, now you get it. Now you understand what parents are instilling in their children today until they decide to redirect. Most likely parents will not redirect because they can barely save themselves. Humans are immortal, but you have just talked yourself into being mortal via your politics, religions, and science dogmas, looking for an angel and a demon. So people talk themselves into death. They talk themselves out of life. And then when they talk themselves into death and out of life, they go visit places where they will take away their life just to confirm and back up their belief system. It's like hypnotizing people and saying, hey, here, bark like a dog, and they bark like a dog. You've watched the hypnotist do that to people who are highly suggestible. Oh, it's pretty crazy. And some people say, oh, life is short, play hard. They already instilled that shortness in their life. And so, yeah, it's in all religions. And in all these different religions, there is the frankincense and myrrh, there's the cumin and the curries, and the spicy food used as medicine against feeling stuff. And then you see people look like the crypt keeper at some point. They become shriveled up and they become the crypt keeper and they die. Or they're into fasting, eating air sandwiches, all about fasting so they can induce autophagy. So the body eats itself. But no one's bringing anything more into their body because, remember, food's poison to them. They can't handle the fucking food. They can't handle milk, meat, cheese, eggs, fruits. They can't handle shit. Literally, they can't handle food. It's pretty sad, the different religions out there that are causing people's destruction. But that's how man was able to talk himself out of immortality, because of their religions, their politics, their science dogmas. You see, I had to learn how to talk about this because the brainwashing is, oh, show me proof. Show me proof that you are immortal. Well, stop talking yourself out of fucking life then. Stop saying people are supposed to die someday. Maybe there, right there, starts there, how you speak about life. how you speak about death. And then your practices going to the medical, holistic, energy healing world, and the fasting, and your intolerance to everything. Now that you know all humans are actually immortal, watch all the gods, demigods. This is where I got really fucking snarky. Now you know that all humans are actually immortal. Watch all the gods and demigods sell each other lifestyles and belief systems of workout routines and yoga and tinctures and operations and meditation, and then death, but they call it life. Watch all the mommy and me groups selling everything under the sun, S-O-N, S-U-N, to manage their child's attempt to evolve, and the mommy stops the evolution so quick with elderberry syrup and herbs and operations or whatever else is on the market. That is why it will be difficult for parents to save their children. That's why parents, you can't really save your kids. They're already too far gone. Because this environment is going to, so now you have to save yourself. Because again, you're not equipped to deal with the suffering of your child having to go through the growing pains of becoming whole again from years and years and years of predisposed issues that they're going to have to deal with, and what you gave them, what your grandparents gave them, what the great-grandparents gave them. Save yourself, because I'll tell you, again, humans are not equipped to watch somebody else suffer that doesn't understand their suffering. That's what I learned. Could my dog have lived going through that process? None of us, my husband and myself, were not equipped to deal with that process, to go through that process of life. It was just too much. Could she have lived? Potentially, but you know what? I gave her back to the veterinary system where she came from. They're the ones that developed this. And then they said, oh yeah, go backyard breed your dogs. Yeah, they say go spay and neuter, but what the hell? And so, yeah. So parents, save yourself. Like, literally save yourself and do the best you can to give your kids the best life. And hope they're strong enough to have a good enough, long enough life, whatever that means. But parents, you have the mostly intact immune system. You're stronger than your children. You have overcome a lot of stuff if you're still living today. And you understand the J world, not so much the J juice, but the J world. You have an intact, strong immune system that can redirect. Do your kids have that? They're going to have to understand what goes on. And even then, they may not understand. And then you have friends and family. They're like, oh, no, you can't do that to Johnny, Billy, and Susie. That's bad. That makes them suffer. You're up against everyone that's going to jail you into submitting to the traditional ways of dealing with evolution. Surgically take it out, herbalize it out, or suck it out with some instrument, or stop it from releasing. That was built into your world. Now you as a parent, you're either one going to save yourself or you're going to go down the ship, and then your kids will follow right thereafter. And so the parents can only save themselves because they already have a mostly developed immune system, but their children do not. That is why it's scary. Once the parent goes, the children will follow close behind. In the Vampire Diaries, once the lead vampire bloodline is destroyed, their offspring, humans, who were turned into vampires by the vampire, and their offspring will all die. So what happens in the Vampire Diaries is that when there is this one vampire that has a whole line of vampires out there, they turned all the humans that they bit, and they all turned into a vampire, part of that genetic line. If that lead vampire goes, then everyone that he bit will also die too. And so that's why they wanted to save the lead vampire, make sure he didn't die, because if he died, they all would die too. So they had to go and save the patriarch and the matriarch. That's exactly what's going on right now in the world, is that if parents die, grandparents die, the kids will soon follow thereafter. But that's no doubt that's been going on for years. Why is that so surprising? It's going to happen faster in this environment. Before, you had a chance to enjoy your relatively long life, maybe 80, 90 years, like what, Prince Philip. He died at 99 years old. He was married for 74 years. Okay, now you're going to see people passing away soon, suffering sooner. So they might be alive, but they're suffering astronomically, and they're like maybe 50 or 60. They might be 60 years old or 50, and they are suffering. And they have kids that are feeling stuff. They don't know how to deal with it, and their kids are like maybe in their 30s, and they have kids. So once mama goes, and she's suffering on her way out the door, then the child's going to watch what mama does, do exactly the same thing that mama does, go to the hospital system, go to the medical system, get surgeries and all that. And we're in a higher frequency environment, more aggressive, and they have predisposed issues. They're going to be taken down like that sooner. And then they have kids on top of that, right? The kids have their own issues. And they're going to go through their processes and apply themselves with so many antibiotics. Okay? And so when you turn up the frequencies up and down where they're fluctuating so aggressively, people don't know how to get ahead of this. They can't get ahead. My dog couldn't get ahead of it. There wasn't nearly enough food that I can give her that she can get ahead of what was going on. It was insane what I had to deal with, what I thought I could deal with, but I didn't realize. What I realized then was the environment was what was making it harder for me. If the environment was relatively calm, she could have gotten ahead of it, potentially. But things were happening so fast, and it was just like, fuck. But even then, the operations. But again, she didn't die in my house. She did not die in my house. She didn't die in my arms. We took her to the vet. We gave her right back to the system that she came from. And I didn't go in there. My husband went in there. And so for me, I couldn't do that again. And so when people say, oh, I had an animal for 18 years, yeah, in a slower frequency environment. Now we're in a higher frequency environment. You think 18 years is going to be really, a possibility? I wouldn't do that again until we're back down to slower frequencies, when the climate has changed and it's staying relatively stable. Where even the transition from spring to summer, summer to fall, fall to winter is relatively stable, not so extraordinarily aggressive like it has been. Because I can feel the heat. And I can feel the temperature going up and temperature going down in my body, and I know what's going up. It's what's going on out there in the environment. See, once you finally become uncured, you will understand where I'm coming from. But when you're cured, you will not be connected to your environment because you're cured. It's like The Walking Dead. Let me read this. And so in the Vampire Diaries, once the lead vampire bloodline is destroyed, their offspring, humans, who are turned into vampires by the vampires, and their offspring will all die. That is called destruction of families and friends and genetic bloodlines. And so when my husband is seeing everyone around him get surgeries because they have arm pain, and they're in, Appalachia here in Ohio, and all of them are mostly blue-collar workers working hard, labor, and they have shoulder issues and arm issues, and he has a little bit of back issues. And then he's like, oh God, everyone's getting operations. I should too. That's no different than a lead vampire biting people and turning them into all genetic family members. And then when he dies, they all die. And I'm like, Jason, if you get an operation, you will be in even more pain. Maybe it's time to release the demons, deal with the pain that you have right now, because it's going to happen regardless. Release the demons, feed your body, and just deal with it like we all are. But as soon as you go under the knife, you're adding more trauma to the body, more pain in the future. So the word Illuminati and bloodline, another religion for distraction. You are the bloodlines under evolution, if you can handle it. Many of you are intolerant, so you will evolve your family out of existence and talk them out of existence. And we thank you for your service. You are being given a chance to redirect, but many of you are too stubborn to see what is going on. But we still thank you. The monarchy are regular people, like Hollywood. They're actually type O. The queen is blood type O. Okay? That's why probably Prince Philip, I don't know, was Prince Philip? I don't know what his blood type is. But why she lived to be, however long that she lived to be. And those that are blood type A and blood type B, those are the ones that have been gene edited for higher energy conversion for your brain, your smarts. So the monarchy are regular people. The king and the queen, the prince and the princess, like Hollywood. No more special than you, but the crown is like the fulcrum, the foundation. So I have no issue with the crown and with their evolution. They are like leaders. And I'm watching, like, Princess Catherine and Prince William do their thing. I grew up with watching Prince William. So, I have no issue with any, representation. They have a parliament. They vote in prime ministers and all that. But they are the representation of evolution, and they had their own shit. They had chapters in history where they were probably not proud of, just like I've had chapters in my history that you've seen even on the internet where it was like, damn, that was difficult. I don't say I'm not proud of it. You got to watch what we have accepted for years, allowing our animals to go under the knife and go through that kind of torture in the veterinary system. And that once that happens, that's very hard to come back from when the climate changes. See, when animals start deteriorating, getting old, it's because the cures wore off. It's because the programming wore off. That's what old age is. That's why animals get old, or why they suffer disease, because the programming wore off. Now you have to make sure that if they don't have any more trauma to them, that maybe they can survive reprogramming them while they're alive. But if they have a lot of trauma, that's not going to happen. And so now I'm getting all these people from Nigeria and Ghana, or Nigeria, Lagos, Nigeria, trying to enroll me into the Illuminati. That's like the Spanish going into America. That's like Columbus going into America and proselytizing religion. So now we have people from Africa trying to convert me into the Illuminati. No different than what we did to the indigenous population, trying to convert them into Catholicism. History repeats itself in so many different ways. If only the Africans knew this, that they're being brought in under a system of, well, it's a tool of control, but you couldn't tell them that because it's better than where they came from, which is great. That's fine. You got to start from somewhere. You got to pay your dues. But it's annoying to watch. It's like watching your little brother make the same mistakes you made. You can't really stop them. They have to go through the process. It's like watching your little sister go through shit. Either she'll make it or she'll break it. Who knows? It's up to her. She'll either wake up or she won't. That's what's like watching developing countries go through the process of waking up, when the first world already kind of woke up, but even people in the first world are still asleep, barely waking up. But imagine exponential people in Africa waking up, and now you're getting hit by everything. Oh, here, I can help you get your account back. Oh, here, join the Illuminati. Here, dial my WhatsApp account. I'm like, are you freak? Scammers. Let's just call it what it is, scammers. If they had that kind of language way back in 1492, when Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue, and the Indian that saw the ships that came to the shore, like, oh, look, here comes the scammers. That's exactly what's going on right now, but in reverse. We have indigenous people who are scamming the first world. It's crazy. It's funny. And so when the parent falls, so will the children and everyone around them who shares the same similar beliefs groupthink is dangerous. It is called the domino effect. And so I had a meme that shows mattresses with a person in front of them just going down one by one. Again, like right now, when you're watching a grandma fall, then the parents will fall, and then the kids will fall, and maybe the kids will have kids, maybe they won't, maybe they're too far gone. But in this environment, when they want to do a whole, depopulation agenda type of thing, you're not going to have time to have, a nice generation of a child and his child or whatever when they grow up. They will be dealing with stuff earlier and earlier and earlier, beyond the drugs earlier and earlier. And the system will capitalize on their innovation if they have something to offer. And then at some point, their worth will be siphoned out of them very quickly, very expeditiously. especially during this climate change. So then it's like belief in the cures and all the therapies are okay in a slow environment because you had time to recoup your resources lost. Kids had time back in the 80s to go through the process of being cured and recoup resources to grow up and be strong in a slower environment. But in this environment, people and children don't have the time like they did before to recoup the resources lost. So the more they check themselves into all the different therapies, such as all the different elderberry syrup, cannabis, the pills, powder supplements, and detoxes, everything that's being offered in the medical holistic system, they will take themselves down notch by notch, but faster in this environment. That's why parents have to save themselves, because their kids and those who are extremely weak will not have time to recoup their resources lost. But some parents are too far gone, that once they are gone, their children will soon follow thereafter. That's how the bloodlines get demolished in mainstream and alternative mainstream society. Once the lead vampire, once the matriarch or the patriarch is gone, so will every single person in that genetic line will be gone until somebody redirects. And it will be the parent. It won't be the child, because that child does not have what it takes to do it, because they will have to go through a process of suffering in order to do that. Parents are more equipped to suffer longer and understand it than the children do. Because some parents are highly intelligent to understand that that's what it takes to evolve, is the suffering. And your kids are not mature enough to understand what suffering is. They will try to cure themselves, or they will destroy things around them. That's why they didn't want, in Twilight, they didn't want the little girl to be a hybrid. They didn't like her being a vampire because she was a hybrid, because they were too out of control. Okay? And so the suffering has to be left for adults who are mature enough to understand this. And so that's why I won't get a dog, because a dog in this environment that isn't equipped to deal with the fluctuations will suffer, and will suffer sooner, because the fluctuations are even that much more intense. It's fun to have a puppy for a minute, but their life will be going on like that. It will be going fast. So this is why you must understand the environment. It has accelerated everything, even the aging process. If you don't have to manage the energy going in, if you don't have what it takes to manage, even the aging process, because you have to manage the energy going in and out of your body. Okay, if you don't know how to manage. All right, geez, talk to text. So this is what I said. People are like, what the hell? The Vampire's Diaries moral to the story is, once Christianity falls, so will society. Because all the religions and spiritual belief systems and pagan rituals are based upon Christianity. When you realize Jesus Christ is actually dead, just like the matriarch and the patriarch, when they don't survive, neither will the offspring or their friends and family who follow in their footsteps. Now you have to save yourself. Believe whatever you want to save yourself, but I hope your kids are strong enough to save themselves. And most likely some of them will not be. Humans, you are the ones that are immortal, and you've been brainwashed into self-destruct. Jesus was the evolution, but he was also a man that was not given the opportunity to evolve because the Romans struck him down. Those who wanted to control humanity made everyone believe that they had to die someday, and that Jesus was someone that you had to emulate. And they made you believe he was immortal in a religion, and they made you mortal through medical industry and alchemy. The Rosicrucians, the witches, the warlocks, the wizards, casting spells on you with all of their concoctions. Again, go to the Mommy and Me groups, go to all the energy healing people, go to the natural remedies. That's all Rosicrucian. That was those who struck down Jesus Christ and then made all the believers believe that they had to die someday. And then they caused pain on them. And then when they were in pain, they gave them a cure. That was called the elderberry syrup. That was called turmeric and honey and apple cider vinegar. That was called all the concoctions you're seeing all over Facebook. The tinctures are being sold by the witches, the warlocks, and the wizards. But they wouldn't call themselves that. They would call themselves healers. That's why everyone loved Jesus back then, because he was saying things that were different. He was going up against authority. They turned him into a martyr. then people started developing religions from that following. But you humans are the ones that are immortal, praying to dead people of the past who were destroyed because they had something different to say. It's time to flip the script. So look what you're doing. So when you're nailing Bill Gates to the cross, when you're nailing Jillian to the cross, no different than what the Romans did to poor Jesus Christ. And then people are praying to that. They're praying to the person that was tortured. That's the desensitization of death, when you're praying to someone who's been tortured. And so even though organized religion may seem a little bit to some people, there are people who are still religious, like the Hebrews and different offshoots of that, that then have their own intolerances. And they are avatars of the past. They can't speak in regular English. They're always speaking in some kind of Genesis or Exodus or even the New Testament scripture to everybody. And so that's where like, oh, the Walking Dead, because you are talking to ghosts of the past when you think about it. When people don't speak in regular English, modern regular English, are always speaking in Latin or scripture, or plagiarizing someone's words all the time, just touting memes all the time. I do occasionally tout memes, but I do also speak my own language, which is called English, with my own thought process, which I'm reading to you right now. This is nothing from the Bible. Because I'm in the modern world. I don't live in the past. I'm not an avatar of Jesus Christ or anyone that came after him or before him. So if living means that you have to question your religion, I'm so sorry. I like my friends a lot. I want to see them alive. The irony, to stay alive, you might have to question the things that you used to believe. Again, let me convince you if I can. There is nothing in my world that is trying to harm anyone or any living thing. I am trying to have you question your belief in death so that you may stay alive if you think you have what it takes to do it. Can you still believe in any religion and still stay alive despite all that's going on? Can you still believe? Okay, you would have to stay home a lot. Deal with yourself. Many religions are about groupthink and going to church all the time and going to events all the time. And your occupation is also tied in with your religion, because there's a lot of MLMs or real estate or mortgage stuff and all that stuff, right? So many religions and occupations are about groupthink. Raising so many children, distracting you and keeping you so busy on such a level that you have to depend upon the medical or holistic system to keep you going. Many religions are afraid of the food supply. They're afraid of processed food. They're afraid of biotech. They're afraid of genetically modified. They're afraid of symptoms. So I don't know if it's possible for you to believe in your religion and still live indefinitely, staying home, staying away from the people that you draw so much energy from, right? I don't know if it's possible. Was that all by design? Fucking yeah, because you're so used to your friends, your family, your associations, your politics, your religion, your science, all of your social capital. And for you to say, okay, now it's time for me to deal with myself and look at myself daily by myself, people get depressed. They can't be on their own. They can't be on their own. And they have a slew of children they have to take care of. There's no way they can be on their own. They are now trapped. That's what sucks. That's why I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place. I'm not trying to advocate the downfall of your religion, but your religion is the downfall of you and your lifestyle. I hope that some of you who are devout can be home more than not. Save yourself and save your religion and your community, your way of life. Give your children a representation to save themselves. But see, that's the thing. Can you be religious and be by yourself and save yourself and save your kids and live indefinitely and still have your religion stay intact? I don't know, because it seems like religion is all about group. It's all about group think, all about hanging out with people all the time, praying to somebody, or going on Facebook and praying with your friends on Facebook and having your mind crowded with somebody else's thought process, somebody else's, drama, health drama, social drama, relationship drama. I can't see people withdrawing from even the activism. That's also another religion. See, many people have trapped themselves. So when I go on Facebook, I do this. Okay, and then I get off my computer and close everything down and I go make myself some food or watch something on TV or something, and maybe when I have a thought, I'll post it. But I don't get involved in other people's bullshit. I barely even socialize out there because that's how you get drawn into other people's bullshit. When you socialize so heavily, then you get distracted. Okay? And I don't have a lot of family that I go visit because they all live all over the world. And so I'm facing myself, and it's awesome. The answers are within me. I just hear myself speak when I do these Facebook Lives. You guys get the benefit of it, but I also get the benefit of making the connections because I'm here. I'm doing the five senses. I can see what I'm writing. I can hear what I'm writing. I'm speaking. I'm tasting. I'm feeling. I'm hearing all that. So yeah, I'm using all my five senses to uncover the mysteries of the past. But some of you don't even listen to yourself. You don't even look at yourself. You don't even speak on Facebook. Do you have a thought process of your own that wasn't regurgitated from somebody else? Can you develop your own thought process? That's even more the point. Do you even want to? No. If you want to just regurgitate, hey, there's so many clones out there. People do, okay. Then there's no way humanity is going to change in your world because you're just regurgitating somebody else's thought process. And so when I posted a picture of my dog, Memorial, now I have that because my husband wants it. Okay? He's the one that we both went to the vet and she got destroyed and all that, and they cremated her. And so, I mean, we could have just paid for the cremation, but we paid for the cremation and then for that memorial. So I just put it there. Sometimes I hear noises over there too. So humans are so much more than ending up being trapped in a box, like a coffin, as an accessory or knickknack on someone's mantle. Well, you can't put a coffin on the mantle, but you put an urn of someone's remains. And so now artificial intelligence is trying to trap humans in devices and robots, trapping their spirit in metal. If you can start building yourself up to deal with the changes in your environment, because when you think about it, being dead means you'll end up walking around the things that you're familiar with, being tied to objects and areas. And so watch Paranormal Activity and Ghost Adventures. That's all about Zach Bagans and whoever else is trying to free the spirits from places that are haunting people who are alive, and these spirits are tied to a specific place and they're in turmoil. They are reenacting what happened when they died. And so that's essentially where you're going to end up. But people have made it turn into all fluffy stuff and turn it into something like, oh, I'm going to go and fly off into some beautiful plasma. It looks like flowers and unicorns and rainbows. But there's a darker side to death, that you could end up haunting a place where you died. Okay? And if your death was very violent, that's an energy imprint that will stay there until somehow you would get released. But where are you getting released to? Who the hell knows? And so you'll end up walking around the things that you are familiar with, being tied to objects and areas. Watch Paranormal Activity, Ghost Adventures, sharing space with the living. When the dead and the alive are at war with each other because the frequencies are so extraordinary, that's evolution. When you are fighting against the avatars of the past representing dead languages. Now, this is where I'm getting really mixing now. The people who are alive right now who are parroting dead languages, dead belief systems, dead ideologies. The only reason why they're bringing it to life is because they're resurrecting the past. Just like they're saying that Jesus was resurrected in April, Easter or something, right? So when the dead and the alive are at war with each other because their frequencies are so extraordinary, that's evolution, right? Because it's a fight, it's a battle. The old and the world, the old and the new, battling it out. When you are fighting against the avatars of the past, representing dead languages, dead belief systems, dead ideologies, which is why humans who are alive must build themselves up, because the dead could be stronger than you and start messing with you. That's why I don't want people talking scripture to me, because they are trying to mess with me, casting spells of the past. Okay? You have to understand what's going on here. That's why I had that gut feeling that anyone talking scripture to me in my group, I didn't want that. We're not trying to convert each other to death. Literally, we're not trying to convert each other to death. Speak modern, plain English as if I was just someone you met on the street and we're exchanging pleasantries. If we want to go deeper and say, hey, the weather's nice, okay, we can go deeper than, hey, what's up? And if we want to go deeper than that, oh, how are you doing? But I don't want you throwing scripture, dead scrolls at me. I don't want you doing that. Which is why humans who are alive must build themselves up, because the dead could be stronger than you and start messing with you. So when the J world came around, all the different religions came around me from the past, and they surrounded me, and they were glomming onto the information, glomming onto the salt. What was their attraction? Because it was a new thing. It's like the ghosts that when you go visit a house and you're new in the area, you go visit the house and all the ghosts, all the little orbs come out, and they're curious on who this new energy is, and they're glomming on like, oh, could we take over this person? Could we convert this person? Could we inhabit their body and come back to life in this world through that body? That's just, my speculation on that as far as the orbs that are checking out new people that are curious. Because when I posted those pictures of the orbs, and people were showing pictures of when they were visiting a house, and there were so many orbs that were surrounding that person, their people. Okay? And so that was the whole J world, was when all the people in the religions, from the dead religions of the past, were surrounding me. Like literally surrounding me. That's what I'm saying. That's why I know a lot about religion, because I've been in it, surrounded by it, raised in it, was involved in it. I mean, religion was everything in my whole last 40-something years. But it's our society, that's why. Alive humans must be stronger than the most deadest human out there, or you'll be haunted by people who are stronger than you in the dead world, trying to possess you so they can come back to life again in your body, in your mind, in your spirit. That's possession. There's possession in the alive world. When someone who is religious or has an idea or a thought process, they're trying to convert you. And when you allow someone to convert you, you are being possessed. That's why I ran away from home. Something was trying to possess me. And it was like my life. It was a life and death. It was fighting each other. I had to leave. And so alive humans must be stronger than the most deadest human out there, or you'll be haunted by people who are stronger than you in the dead world, trying to possess you so you can come back to life again in your body, in your mind, in your spirit. And people do try to convert and possess other people. That's in domestic violence. That's in all the different religions out there that are proselytizing. Those are in Nigeria trying to sell you an Illuminati membership. I mean, they try to possess you, take your money, take your body, take your mind, take your spirit. That's why you have to be so strong in body, mind, and spirit to fight the demons of your waking world and also fight the demons in the dead world. And probably why people have nightmares, because they are fighting demons. And I had such an aggressive dream on Monday when I posted about the dream. It was so active. I don't have those dreams very often. But that was telling me that there was demons out there that I had to fight the next few days. And I did, because that video that came out about me and my dog, and then my finally realizing what religion is, because that was the birth of a new religion. When you think about it, not really new, that was just more of an offshoot, because the new religion of hatred of Jilly Juice was the Dr. Phil show. And then all those influencers thereafter that just couldn't wait to get their hands on and beating those war drums of hatred and intolerance. My dog was still alive back then, so they didn't have that as a leverage. But as soon as my dog couldn't survive this, they used my dog's sugar as leverage for their belief systems. That's how evil religion can be, is they will use things that you love as leverage to control you, to put fear into you. That's the demonic shit out there that you have to protect yourself from. That's religion. So my dog did not die here in my house. She was destroyed by the vet, but I have her spirit over here. She was destroyed by the vet in the beginning, and she was destroyed by the vet at the end. I tried to save her to life in between each vet exposure. So contrary to popular belief, I never killed my dog. The veterinary system got to her in the beginning, and they were able to get to her at the end. We humans are not equipped to suffer astronomically, especially watching animals and children and humans suffer astronomically. See, suffering isn't bad. To what extent can you handle it, and can the animal handle it? And you have to, my animal was not suffering like people thought, because if she was, she would have been whining. But she had to go through a process, and she knew it. But was it necessary? None of us were equipped to deal with that process. None of us. And so I had to do what I had to do in this world, was to give her back to the system, give her back to the universe, where she came from. And it was a very sad situation for all parties. And so at the end, we have to destroy the animal or ourselves in order to save our sanity. If we hadn't visited the veterinarian or the medical world, we wouldn't be going through this astronomical suffering. And that's what I'm saying. Once you commit your kids to the medical system, the holistic system, you better hope that they didn't have so much trauma during their first, second, or third visit, because then when you finally realize what you need to do, maybe coming back from all that trauma from the medical and the holistic system won't be as bad. But some of you have committed your whole body, mind, and spirit to the medical holistic system. Coming back from that would be astronomically painful, and some of you are too far gone. And some of you know that. That's why you don't like me, and I'm okay with that. I'm talking to those who are not that far gone. I wasn't that far gone. That's the ultimate punishment for having an animal and human you are connected to, is watching them deteriorate towards the end. That's why I won't get another animal until the world changes. And then putting them on the mantle, trapped again. Humans are also viewed as the same way. The medical system gets you before you go out in the world. They get you in between each evolutionary leap, and they get you at the end. And then your family and friends trap you in places that they want you, or they spread your ashes wherever you say you wanted to be spread, and then you are left walking the earth alone in the dead world. And so I also have great memories of my animal, but they should never be a memory. If you get an animal, it's for your whole life. If you're temporary, your animal is temporary. If you choose not to be temporary, you have to find a system that will accept permanent people and permanent animals. That's why the system must change. I don't want to be a permanent person with a temporary family. That's heart-wrenching. Those in the J world who understand where I'm coming from, the ultimate suffering is watching the old world die off while you are building yourself up. That's going to be the ultimate challenge, and it will be fucking hell. Because it is. I'm dealing with the hell right now. Because the demons are biting at my ankles around my dog. And that's fine. Let them bite my ankles. They can say whatever the hell they want. Because they are the temporary people who don't understand, who choose not to look at both sides of an argument. And so you'll watch those who worship Jesus nail so many people to the cross. That's the irony. And so I'm glad you all got to see how you treat your animals and humans through my situation with my animal. You saw what you've done to your animal when it comes to the veterinary system. And it's difficult to look at who you are. That's why I want a world without veterinarians. I want a strong, stable people and animals. If I'm going to have a friend like an animal or a human in the future that I depend on, as far as company and whatever, they can't evolve into death. I like evolution, but I can't watch deterioration. We are experiencing the overlap of the old world and the new world trying to cohabitate, and it's fucking hell. I feel like I'm Jesus being nailed to the cross. I'm just a woman and he was just a man. It will make you stronger, but goddamn, it's fucking nuts. Okay? So once you realize that Jesus actually was a man that was nailed to the cross, and that you are a woman or a man or they or thee or it or whatever, and people are nailing you to the cross, just remember that those people most likely are very religious, and they probably believe in Jesus, and they're doing exactly the same thing to you as they did as what happened to their Savior, their Lord and Savior. And so the irony does not escape me. So don't let anyone nail you to the cross. I don't care who you are, LGBTQ, Jilly Juice person, or anyone else that has a different belief system that is abiding by the law. Don't let anybody in the religious world nail you to the cross. Remind them that Jesus was nailed to the cross by those that didn't like the evolution of Jesus. Now, could you say the LGBTQ is like an evolution? They're just different. That's all. Different than people that are homogenized. But they're not really that different. They're just another human being with different beliefs, different ways. No different than me. Okay? Don't let anyone nail you to the cross. I don't care who you are. Don't let anyone nail you to the cross. BuzzFeed is going out of business. I'm not surprised. Okay, got that. Okay, so here we go. Let's put things in perspective. Humans were immortal 2,023 years ago. But 2,023 years ago, the birth of Jesus Christ and the death of him and humans turned mortal because of mass amounts of brainwashing, and the Romans enslaved the world. Now, 2,023 years later, humans are realizing they are mortal to begin with. They forgot and were brainwashed into slavery. And now humans and animals are being set free. Many are resisting. It was all a hoax. You were never supposed to die. The belief in death was a hoax. When you constantly die and reproduce, your memory is based upon what they, whoever it is, your parents, the system, tell you when you assimilate to whatever culture you're in. But how do you know those who followed Jesus Christ were immortal before his death? How do you talk someone from living into dying? You inflict pain on them using energy frequencies and then give them a cure. It's like when someone says, hey, someone wants you to do something and they hit you. And if you don't do what they do, they keep hitting you. And then you finally do what they want you to do. And they're like, oh, now I love you. That's so great. You did. And so that's the whole positive and negative reinforcement. That's how you talk someone from life into death, is that you inflict pain on them and then save them with a pill, powder supplement, a cure, or a religion. And then they love you. And that's how you're able to then manipulate the fuck out of them and talk them into their own destruction. That's wow. And so you inflict pain on them using energy frequencies and then give them a cure, give them gifts, curses, and spells. They will sell out their firstborn and have a whole new religion of death and reproduction, pain, pleasure, and addiction. And so back then, they probably had sideshows of growths and cancers and then showing how the alchemists disappeared them with their own little concoctions. People were in fear. They started using alchemy against their bodies. Someone knew how to direct the energy and develop situations. When I was in China, I was on my way out from mainland China going into Hong Kong. I had to travel by myself because my friend Ivy was staying with her parents. And so my vacation was up. And so one of the buses, oh, actually, hold on. Yeah. The buses went through a place where they were trying to sell us a pharmaceutical. And so the lady had an iron that was put over a fire, and she's trying to sell us some kind of salve for burns. And so what did she do? She took that iron, she put it to her freaking forearm, burned herself, literally burned herself. And I'm like, oh my God. And then she took that salve and she put it on that, and then she's like, here, look, see, it disappeared. That's what happened 6,000 years ago. And then I got to see it personally in China when they're trying to sell us a pharmaceutical for burns. And I was like, holy shit. So when I was in China, a lady purposely burned herself and then showed us a salve and then disappeared the burn. She was probably exhibiting what they did way back when. And since history is written by the winners, you got to go and rewrite history based upon what you see today, because history will give you one truth based upon someone's intentions. You now have to develop your own mind based upon what you see today in front of you. Because what's going on today was no different than what went on 6,000 years ago, and what's not being said what happened 6,000 years ago. And so you have to not only question what you're seeing, now you must develop another theory behind why this is happening or not happening. You now have to be a non-denominational or a non-discriminatory conspiracy theorist. If not, you will then believe whatever someone tells you. That's the difference between someone with higher intelligence that can question things and someone with average intelligence that just kind of believes whatever and just goes with the flow, doesn't really care where they end up. They just whatever. And when someone says, oh, you shouldn't do this and whatever, or someone's doing this and they're all triggered and traumatized, then that's when the demons come out in that person. And so that's why we all are behind virtual reality, because you do this in the public square, people get violent, they get stupid. And so, yeah, you have flash petrification. We'll talk about that. Yeah. Let me see. The work we do on ourselves is the gift to everyone else. Yeah, okay. And then I said, yeah, in this one, the reason why they didn't allow humans to stay immortal 2,000 years ago is because they were immortal at a lesser intelligent level. So the only way to increase intelligence level in society was to develop evolution that was painful, and the stronger prototype would survive. We're in the next level of intelligence acceleration right now during this climate change. They had to evolve humans exponentially and then finally bring in immortality. Because when you have people immortal at a higher level of intelligence, society is better. Animals are taken care of properly, and they don't ever have to die. And the earth will be managed much better. And humans won't have to go to war with each other because they won't have deficiencies looking to take somebody else's body, mind, or spirit. And greed won't exist with higher intelligence. It's like freezing something at a lesser complex existence and freezing something at a higher complex existence. And that's what I said earlier. That if you want to evolve somebody, they have to go through the pain of the suffering. Okay? And they have to do it individually. You can't induce suffering on someone else if they don't understand what it is. All right? Animals just do what they do. But us as humans have a hard time dealing with watching things suffer. And so it becomes just crazy to us. We don't want to have animals suffer. We shouldn't even have them go to the medical or holistic. But since we're not in a stable environment and we have bred so many people and so many animals, like seriously bred them so much, there's so many anomalies and so much crap in the genetic line that it's crazy. I can't have an animal in this society right now. It has to change. And so it takes 2,000 years of evolution to finally find a happy medium and give humans a chance to evolve, plus also enjoy diversity and give people a choice. And so, yeah, I understand now. Only the strong are going to survive. And then we'll have a slave class that will then buy into a religion like the Illuminati. And history's going to repeat itself, but it'll be at their own hand, at their own, yes, I want to be this. And it'll be a nicer slave quarters. There'll be like the Immortals will be free because they're not going to be tied into all the trappings of wealth and all tied into all the group think. They will evolve. They will be law-abiding citizens, but they won't be suffering like those that are in group think that suffer exponentially. And they have to pass on the suffering to their friends and their family and their cohorts. That's why they hang out in groups. So people hang out in groups because they can't handle their own suffering. They have to share it and unload on other people. And so, oh God, I don't want to write that. Yeah, I'm not going to write that. Okay. All right. So I'm just saying that. All I want to say. Yeah. And so I was watching the Age of Adeline part of it last night. I watched it before, but, so you can imagine, what it will be like when you are living in, like, when you don't really age. You might fluctuate in like weight and stuff and look a little crazy sometimes, but when you don't age in this society and they look at your driver's license, like I said before you even saw the Age of Adeline, when somehow she was able to withstand, or she didn't age in that movie. And so when a policeman stopped her and she's like, oh, you were born in 1908. Now we're in 2000 something. I forget the date. He's like, or 1962. And you're like 62 or 45 or something years old. And she looked like she was 30. That's going to be like crazy. That's why I can't wait. Like in 20 years when I'm still looking the same way when I haven't aged. It's not like I'm going to get younger. I'm just not going to age. Because I'm just going to fluctuate. The aging process is all the pills and powder supplements and detoxes and the surgeries and the extracts and the cannabis and all the different trappings of wealth and the addictions. That's what causes the aging process. When all you're eating is food and dealing with all the crap and pulling out, your programming, pulling out the excessive programming when it's needed to, you won't age. You wouldn't die from natural causes. And so, yeah, in the next 10 years, and I'm like, right now, I'm going to be 50 next year. And so when I'm set to retire, collecting Social Security, whatever meager amount it is, and I'm like looking forward to getting all the AARP or AMAC discounts for mature people. And they're like, you look like you're 20. You're not 55 plus. That's what's going to be extraordinary. Look at people's faces in person when you're showing them your ID. I was born in 1974. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I can't wait till that happens. I can't wait till that happens. So right now, people that look young, you know, that are in their 70s, look like they're in their 50s and they have all the plastic surgery and whatever else. They're in Hollywood. Like Cher, they can afford to have all the things make them look young. Like Madonna, maybe, if she looks young to you. But I'm not in Hollywood. I don't have estheticians and I don't have plastic surgery or Botox. I don't have diets. I don't hide behind makeup or filters. This is who I am. This is me. You know, I'm going to be 50 years old and I feel like, you know, the only difference I feel like is I have a little bit of a belly that I didn't have before, but that's my life. My belly is my life. Yeah, my boobs are a little bit bigger, but I'm okay with that. I have substance to deal with energy conversion. I have reserves so I can handle climate change. That's the only real difference that I feel from like 5, 6, 7, 10 years ago is a little extra padding to help me through this climate change and stay alive. That's the only difference. And I feel I feel smarter. I feel better. I can't complain. Okay? I can't complain. So the J world is not for everybody. Some of you are too far gone. Some of you are not. Some of you have the chance to redirect. Maybe your kids don't because they're still developing, and in this environment you really have to make sure they eat a lot of food, milk, meat, cheese. They have to have access to food. You can't afford to put your kids on diets in this day and age. But then if they have food issues and other stuff and they're seeing a doctor and they have, well, that's what I'm saying. If your kids don't have too many predisposed issues and they're relatively strong and they can handle a little bit of suffering, not too much and not too little, whatever, and you have to determine that as a mother, and so will your doctor if you're under a doctor's care. Yeah, but that's the thing. You can't save anyone but yourself. Okay? You can't save anyone but yourself. And even me knowing this, trying to save my dog, I didn't want her to go. I didn't listen to my own rule. Even actually Audrey pointed out to me, you know, you said you can't save anyone but yourself and you're trying to save your dog. You're right, Audrey. You're absolutely fucking right. I thought I could but then I forgot she had that medical shit. And so sometimes you'll break your own rules. You will try to save things. But in reality, you can only save yourself. And that's the hardest lesson of all. That's the hardest lesson of all. And that's why I don't take on anything more than I can handle to lose. I don't. And I know what I can handle to lose and what I know I can't. And right now, the life that I have right now, I can deal with losing the life that's in my world right now. I don't want to ever lose my husband, but that's on him to figure it out. That's on him. I don't want to lose all of you guys, but that's on all of you to figure out how to save yourselves. So that's all I'm going to say. But I wanted to say that you are immortal and you've been talked out of being immortal through politics, religion, science, dogmas, your mom, your dad, your system, your friends, your family, all of your cohorts, your associations, everybody. If you want to finally be immortal, you got to extricate yourself away from all of those influences that are talking you out of life. They're talking you into death, trying to convert you into death. That's what happened 6,000 years ago after Jesus Christ died. The Romans talked everyone into death. Bye.